Hi, welcome to FedScoop TV. I'm Colby Hockmuth. I'm sitting here with Nicole Callahan, Digital Engagement Strategist for the Office of Federal Student Aid at the Education Department. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So Nicole, how do you define innovation?
To me, innovation means how can we take processes or services and make them, better, faster, stronger, or cheaper. In government, we like cheap. So how can we take, our missions and our services and improve the way we do those things? It can be, using technology or not using technology. But yeah, innovation is just about making things better, I guess.
Right. And so with the technology landscape that's just evolving so rapidly, how can you best leverage external innovation?
Sure. So for my job doing social media for federal student aid, a lot of what we do is leveraging external innovation. Our main mission is to communicate with students and get the word out about federal student aid and our programs. So knowing that our students go to different mediums, one day it's Facebook, tomorrow it might be Twitter. These are all external innovations and ways of communicating that we then have to take and see how we can use those to really help us get the word out about federal student aid and our programs.
Right, and you touched on this a little bit, but how is the Office of Federal Student Aid innovating given its mission and sort of budgetary constraints?
Sure, so in government, budgetary constraints are always a big concern. One big project we have going on right now is something we call the Integrated Student Experience. So this time last year, a year and a half ago, we had 14 different student-facing websites. So as a student, someone who's coming and trying to find out about financial aid, it can get really confusing. So we have a new project that we're trying to combine those 14 student-facing websites into a one-stop shop. So the first phase of that project launched last July. It's studentaid.gov, built on responsive design, built in Drupal. And over the next couple years, we'll continue to integrate the rest of those websites until we have that one-stop shop for students.
Sure.
And actually, the project was brought almost entirely in-house. We had some outside support, but we basically took people who have regular full-time jobs and said, if you're passionate about doing this, help us rewrite our content, help us build this site, help us integrate social media into it. So it was largely an internal effort that didn't take much extra resources and had, over $1 million in cost savings.
Sure. And sort of switching gears a little bit, what is your perspective on big data?
Big data. So the government has a lot of data, and sometimes it's some data might be housed with the U.S. Department of Education, other data might be with the census. But if you put those different data points together, you can find some really, really interesting stuff. So for me, big data is hugely important in identifying what citizens need. And we have to stop thinking of ourselves as the Department of Education or federal student aid, but as a government where we're serving the citizens, and how can we use the data that we all collect from the citizens on an everyday basis to put it together and make citizens' lives easier.
Right. And so what sort of guidance can you provide to other agencies in establishing an innovation program or getting more innovative?
Sure. Innovating is hard because sometimes it involves failing. Sometimes it involves, trying new things that don't work out. It's crucial for us, it's been really helpful to have the support of upper level management and giving us that space to try new things and having it be okay to have a little bit of failure. I mean, hopefully if we're failing fast, figuring out what we can do to improve. But if you're never trying anything new, you're kind of stuck. So I would say a big key to innovation programs in government is just not being afraid to try new things.
Great. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for that really interesting insight. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
You're watching FedScoop TV.